Hello, sir. What can I get for you today?
One ticket to the American Society of Magical movie.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that?
One ticket to the one about the society.
Joker. You're a little late on that one, sir.
No, the diverse movie with the magical people in it.
That doesn't narrow it down, sir. Can you please just tell me what movie you would like to see?
It's just a word. Popcorn?
Just say the word, sir. Say it.
Hey, don't worry, man. I got this. 2 tickets to Coon, please. You know, the one with the colored person? Zendaya. Oh, sorry. Person of color? Dyslexia. Oh, you wanted the right one. Then 2 tickets to the American Society of Magical Magical Negroes is a satirical comedy written, directed, and produced by Kobe LeBee, and it's the most boring, unfunny, clumsy, unfocused satire anyone's ever seen. If anyone ever sees it, because holy heaving halibut, Batman, this movie's flopping harder than a fish out of water. Shame too, because it's the most unabashedly racist screed of a movie I've ever seen also. And that's what makes it fun. To poke fun at, not to watch.
Really important conversations that I'm excited for the Black community to have. I'm excited for the wider American community to have.
Ain't no one having a conversation about this one, bro. They would have to want to go watch it first. You have to be kind of like me to strain the slightest bit of enjoyment out of this future manifesto. Otherwise, I can't recommend you waste over 3 hours of your life on it. What? I could have sworn this shit was 3 hours. Damn commie effect. Hey, Justice, loved your movie. Am I allowed to say the full title of it?
You know. I would just shorten it to American Society.
Well, I'm going to anyway, you fucking half-blood. If you didn't know, which would be most people, so we're off to a really bad start already, the magical Negro is a trope, particularly in reference to American cinema, on the recurrence of a supporting black character aiding white protagonists on their journey. Sometimes they are literally magical, sometimes not, but the idea is that they are a comforting, selfless presence for the white audience to play pretend they're not racist. Or whatever, something like that. More than token, but less than a character. So the Green Mile guy, and Miss Daisy's driver.
Fuck your crusty white ass woman.
Really a timely piece of satire this movie is, ain't it? Well, it plays with the trope name, creating a secret society of black wizards whose sole purpose is to find white people in need of their services. But Mr. LeBee takes it further. The reason the blacks can have this magic at all is due to self-preservation, to protect themselves from the world's apex predator.
What's the most dangerous animal on the planet?
Shark.
White people.
I mean, he ain't wrong. Get the boys together and it takes the world to stop them. But does it gotta be only white people? What about the Rwandan genocide? That one actually happened. If Black Lives Matter so much, why y'all not get your N1s out and help them?
White people feeling uncomfortable precedes a lot of bad stuff for us.
Only white people in America have a discomfort level system that can be measured by the Negroes. A white tears meter.
We fight white discomfort every day.
Yep, the movie's this subtle all the way through, folks. If the white tears go into the red, you're for some reason practically assured this white person will blow their top off and kill a black person or get a black person killed. So if a teenage white girl gets one too many parking tickets, she could just lose it and start blasting.
Don't be scared. I believe I should control the gun.
Because as the head of the Magical Negro Society tells our protagonist, there's nothing more dangerous than living as a black person in America. But you know, she ain't wrong. Heart disease kills the American black community in droves, in large part due to a genetic inclination toward it with help from rampant high blood pressure and their diabetes and obesity rates. Fitting then, she too is morbidly obese. As LaSquisha puts it, the American Society of Magical Negroes was formed to quell white discomfort, thereby raising the black life expectancy living amongst the pale demon. But as her harness groans in protest, it's obvious these wizards are failing. White people out here slaying blacks like it's the Holocaust every other night. Why, look at these numbers. Oh. Lordy, over 40 times the amount? Bruh, no way. How do y'all even find the time after work?
White cop sees a black man, feels uncomfortable, another shooting.
Well, okay, he's gotta have a point there. Let's see the cop shootings for unarmed blacks in, say, 2021. 1, 2, 3, 11. What?
11 casualties have been reported.
And still half these fellows were fucking around before they found out. Okay, shootings in general. We gotta have something there. What the fuck? I don't want to look at the R-word numbers, do I?
You don't want to do that. You'll be able to access that as soon as we generate some encrypted passcodes.
The satire of this movie fails in spectacular fashion, because instead of being an incisive look at the magical Negro trope itself, the script abuses it as an excuse to examine American society's attitudes, or attitude singular, toward blacks.
Fire!
This man is black! What?
But the point of satire is to exaggerate something that's actually there for the sake of parody. But all this stuff about whites being walking time bombs and white discomfort gets presented without a lick of irony. No ribbing, no hint of hyperbole. This is the reality or delusion that Libby sees. And the satire, in humongous quotes, is that even the Society of Black Wizards believes they're powerless to reshape it.
These people's race swap.
It's almost like Mr. Libby has some kind of chip on his shoulder. Okay, always the light skins. Of course, once it became clear the satire failed on every level, they removed that descriptor from the Wikipedia summary, but they accidentally left the comedy behind. I think your movie needs to have jokes or some such in it to qualify.
If it ain't funny.
Now, I'll try my best to gloss over the story, because if you've seen the trailer, as I've heartily recommended many a time that you do, you've seen the movie already. You get to see the protagonist's entire arc in it, and legit, this is the ending.
I'm curious to see how you gonna make it out of all this.
That's a little of a story there really is, but whatever, I'll rant about it anyway. Mr. Libby's feature debut stars an invertebrate failed artist named Kobe, Aaron, displaying his sculpture in a modern art museum. Any parallels you can make already? Well, he calls it a sculpture, but it's just a bunch of yarn hanging over a string. All these white people approach it and pretend to attempt to glean some kind of meaning from it, but it's just a bunch of fucking yarn. It's obvious you're supposed to feel bad for Aaron because no one understands it or asks him to explain it, but he doesn't make any move to be understood either. Good thing they don't ask, honestly, because as we later learn, the yarn is somehow really about him being uncomfortable, around white people. Yet you chose to be here doing specifically this, you stringy little shit. He spent $3,000 on yarn, and it's left him a piddly $17 in the bank to live in fucking LA, somewhere he chose to live. Am I supposed to root for this fellow, or for a disgruntled cop to end his miserable shadow of an existence? This opening does a terrific job of setting up Aaron as unlikable, submissive, and just plain wince-inducing.
Watching you walk through a room full of white people was the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me. Sorry.
For future character development, right? Sure, viewer. Sure. As it happens, spinelessness is a prime attribute the American Society of Magical Negroes looks for, so he's recruited by this guy Roger into the program. Now, Mr. Roger is, semi-ironically, the magical Negro to Aaron's character and his so-called journey, as Roger does essentially nothing but assist Aaron and shower us with exposition about how to keep the Mayo monkeys from eliminating black fragility. You could replace him with Aaron reading aloud out of Cookies Declassified Cracker Survival Guide, and very little about the story would change. The society is a bunch of black nerds anyway. A confusing point though, shouldn't a society of Negroes also be looking for the trait of, being a Negro? Because Aaron is mixed.
Mixed race beauties, rise up, rise up.
He makes a point of mentioning this by bringing up his white mom, and funnily enough, nothing about his dad. So at what point exactly are you cut off from being a Negro? Can quads get in? Like, at what degree does someone with European admixture get a white tears meter? Food for thought, drinky for thinky. Well, Aaron's first client is a web developer dude named Jason, working at obvious Facebook parody MakeKeep. The mission? Make Jason feel better about himself, especially as his facial recognition software fails to acknowledge people from Ghana, causing a controversy for the company. A clear allusion to the time Facebook's biased AI kept identifying black men as primates.
Ooh, oh, oh, to you too, Dave.
Anyway, as a result, MakeKeep decides to go even harder in his commitment to diversity, which is still racist to all the characters of color, so I honestly don't see how you win this fucking game without genociding white people in the end. Aaron helps Jason spearhead this diversity operation, but not really. He never even uses magic. We're shown very occasionally other Blages using it to lift things telepathically or altering white people's perception of reality, but Aaron doesn't use any black magic with Jason. In the end, he just gets fed up with dealing with this loser, gets up on stage like it's a literal soapbox and makes a grand lecturing speech to him in front of the entire company about how he's randomly discovered that he deserves to exist in this white-dominated society. That's our protagonist's arc. From being brutally uncomfortable around white people yesterday to yelling at Whitey that it's okay to be black the next. It's the peak of cringe, just the director's self-insert yelling at the audience about his self-discovery and therapy. And that's meant to be the main narrative framework. But the real white meat is Aaron's incredibly awkward romance with the white chick, who's not actually a white, she clarifies. She's racially ambiguous. So what, a hoppa? What are you, lady? Agonizingly, the two trade witty barbs and bond over their inability to truly fit in because of white male privilege, I think. It's just kind of cringy and sad. Imagine an intense, fiery romance where the core of your passion is licking y'all's wounds. The secondhand embarrassment was giving me a secondhand white tears meter, and I blew way past red on that shiz. The conflict here is that Jason also has an interest in Lizzie, and if Aaron goes against Jason's wants, he'll get kicked out of the society, lose his magic that he never uses, and have his memories erased. But that plot thread too is essentially dropped within a handful of scenes. Aaron could have given her the BMC on the down low and been happy with that, but instead he chose to yell at the oh so dangerous murderous devils that they can't hold him down anymore. He will buy 3K's worth more yarn and he will string it up, and there's nothing you whites can do about it. This doesn't get him killed or anyone with his kind of skin tone killed, bizarrely enough, but it gets him banished from the society nonetheless. But again, not really. He cheats his way out. He loses his power, but he gets to keep his memories. His real talk was just that real to the rest of the Negroes. He gets to remain an empowered black male and get the girl. There's a silly little twist at the end that Lizzie is part of her own society, the Society of Supportive Wives and Girlfriends, or So Swag. It's about the one intentional joke I appreciated, but if the romance weren't already a dead fish, it puts a spear right through it. So the only reason Liz was giving Aaron the time of day was because it was her job to service him? Damn. Presumably because men are a threat to the womenfolk, and she needed to keep Aaron's incel rage from escalating to the point he started corroding women with his yarn. No wonder the romance felt forced as absolute fuck. But it raises the question, are there other black art societies in America? The Guild of Occulta Koreans? The Kardashian International Clique Elite Society?
The Kardashians are lying to you.
Overall, the American Society of Magical Negroes is about a confused failure of a man being led around by the nose by everyone around him, blacks and whites both, until he has this Shinpiphany. That's my own invented trope name, a Shinji Epiphany. That it's okay for him to be alive among whites.
Congratulations.
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 What a wonderful message. Go on and share it with your Haitian brothers over dinner, Mr. LeBee. They'll eat it right up. I'm sure this was also palliative for our director crafting his escapist fantasy where a whitish chick actually likes him, but otherwise, blacks will be offended that their wizarding world is full of willful slaves. Whites will be offended at the characterization they're all socially inept monsters ready to take their anger out on blacks at the drop of a tear, and general moviegoers will be bored out of their diversely shaped skulls. Or would be if they went. I went with a white friend who left the theater not only upset she was generalized as some demon with no social awareness, but that this is what passed for a romance or romantic comedy. She called Aaron and Liz's exchanges the worst dialogue she'd ever heard in a movie. This ain't someone chomping at the bit to get her media literacy license. She's a normal moviegoer who generally doesn't mind the hidden figures strewn throughout our modern trash. Yet this movie damn near made her a Nazi coming out of it. Ergo, my rating? 10 out of 10. Get as many of your normie friends as you can to see this movie. Good choice, Straw Nerd. Worth the price of admission.
I'm glad you enjoyed your movie, sirs. Now you can move your privileged asses from the front of the line.
Oh, sorry about that. Wait a second. This is a concession stand, not the ticket counter. What were we doing buying our tickets from you?
Well,
You scalping us?
I gotta go.
Hey, thief! Somebody shoot that man!
Which one?
The black one!
Ouch.
You all thought it was gonna be me because I'm also black, but I subverted your—
Oh my god, talking Negro!